The incursion of Russian drones into Polish airspace, an in-depth analysis and evidence assessment. The Russia-Ukraine conflict, which escalated into a full-scale invasion on February 24, 2022, has increasingly impacted the geopolitical landscape of Eastern Europe. A significant development occurred on the night of September 9–10, 2025, when multiple Russian drones reportedly entered Polish airspace during a large-scale aerial assault on western Ukraine. Polish and NATO forces responded by shooting down several of these unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, marking the first instance of NATO engaging Russian assets over a member state's territory. This event, occurring amid heightened tensions, has raised questions about the war's spillover effects, NATO's defensive posture, and the reliability of evidence attributing the incursion to Russia. This essay provides a comprehensive, unbiased analysis of the incident, exploring its geopolitical implications and critically evaluating the evidence to determine its substantiation, while incorporating additional context and examples to enrich the discussion. Detailed description of the incident. The incursion took place during a Russian drone and missile barrage targeting Ukrainian infrastructure, particularly in the Lviv region near the Polish border. Polish authorities reported that at least 19 drones crossed into eastern Poland, with estimates suggesting up to 23 may have been involved. Between 11:30 p.m. and 6:45 a.m. Central Europe Summer Time, Polish F-16s, supported by Dutch F-35s, German Patriot systems, Italian surveillance aircraft, and a Belgian tanker, intercepted and downed between 3 and 8 drones, with others possibly crashing due to electronic interference or navigational failure. Debris was scattered across multiple locations, including Wreak, where a residential home sustained minor damage, though no casualties were reported. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk described the event as unprecedented, noting it brought Poland closer to conflict than at any point since World War II. In response, Poland invoked NATO's Article 4, prompting consultations among alliance members to address the security threat. The drones, identified as Shahed or Gerbera models commonly associated with Russian forces, were said to have originated from Russian or Belarusian launch sites, with some potentially returning from missions over Ukraine. Russia's defense ministry denied intentional violation, suggesting navigational errors or Ukrainian electronic warfare as causes, while Belarus reported downing similar drones that strayed into its airspace. This incident follows prior airspace violations, such as a Russian missile incursion in December 2023 and drone crashes in Romania in 2024, indicating a pattern of unintended or contested overflights. Geopolitical analysis and broader context. This event must be viewed within the broader context of the Russia-Ukraine war and NATO's strategic posture. Russia's use of drones, costing approximately $10,000 each, contrasts with the multi-million-dollar missiles, e.g., AIM-9X at $2.8 million, deployed by NATO, highlighting an economic asymmetry in hybrid warfare. The incursion may represent a deliberate probe to test NATO's resolve, especially as the alliance grapples with war fatigue and differing member priorities, such as Hungary's reluctance to escalate. For Poland, a frontline state with a history of Russian aggression, e.g., the 1939 invasion, this reinforces its call for enhanced defenses, including a proposed drone wall along its eastern border, supported by UK and German contributions. Diplomatically, the incident has unified NATO's rhetoric, with leaders like UK Defence Minister John Healey condemning the reckless behaviour, and Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg reaffirming solidarity without triggering Article 5, which would mandate a collective military response. However, it also exposes vulnerabilities. NATO's reactive stance, engaging drones only after they entered Polish airspace, raises questions about deterrence, as noted by analysts like Peter Botwar, a former Slovakian ambassador to NATO. Historically, similar incidents, such as the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh conflict where Azerbaijan used drones to outmaneuver Armenian defenses, illustrate how UAVs can exploit gaps in air defense networks, a lesson now relevant to NATO. The broader implications extend beyond Poland. Ukraine views the spillover as justification for increased Western support, framing the conflict as a European security issue. Russia, meanwhile, may aim to stretch NATO resources or provoke a miscalculation, echoing Cold War-era brinkmanship, such as the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, where proxy actions tested alliance cohesion. The incident also coincides with U.S. political shifts, e.g., post-Alaska summit dynamics with Russia, adding complexity to transatlantic responses. Ultimately, it underscores the need for robust deterrence, enhanced air defenses, and diplomatic channels to prevent escalation. Critical assessment of the evidence. The evidence supporting Russian responsibility is substantial but warrants careful scrutiny. Polish and NATO officials, backed by radar tracking and debris analysis, assert the drones were Russian-manufactured and launched from Russian or Belarusian territory. Visual documentation, including footage of intercepts and wreckage, aligns with Shahed, Gerbera designs, and the timing, coinciding with a Russian offensive, supports this narrative. Independent analyses, such as those from the Institute for the Study of War, suggest intentional provocation based on operational patterns. Moreover, the scale, 1923 drones, and coordination with Ukrainian strikes lend credence to a deliberate act rather than isolated drift. However, several factors invite skepticism. Russia's denial, while predictable, is supported by Belarus's claim of electronic interference disrupting drone navigation, a phenomenon observed in prior conflicts, e.g., Syria, 2018. The drone's ability to traverse 600 kilometers of Ukrainian airspace undetected raises questions about Ukrainian air defenses, prompting speculation of complicity or failure, though no concrete evidence supports this. Additionally, the presence of non-Russian components in Gerbera drones, as noted in open-source intelligence, suggests potential supply chain complexities or misidentification risks. Media coverage, predominantly from Western outlets like BBC and AP, relies heavily on Polish, NATO sources, which may reflect bias amid information warfare, while pro-Russian narratives on social platforms lack verifiable data. Forensic verification remains incomplete. As of September 11, 2025, debris analysis is ongoing, and no international probe, e.g., by the UN, has been established to independently confirm origins. Historical parallels, such as the 2014 MH17 downing where initial attributions shifted with evidence, caution against premature conclusions. The evidence is thus robust but not conclusive, corroborated by credible entities yet vulnerable to geopolitical spin, electronic warfare effects, or operational errors. Transparency, such as shared intelligence or third-party investigation, would bolster certainty. Comparative examples and additional considerations. To contextualize, consider Azerbaijan's 2020 use of Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones against Armenia, where low-cost UAVs overwhelmed outdated defenses, prompting NATO to study counter-drone tactics. Similarly, Houthi drone attacks on Saudi Arabia, 2019, demonstrated how asymmetric threats can challenge advanced militaries, a lesson applicable to Poland's experience. These cases highlight the evolving role of drones in modern warfare, where intent, intentional breach versus drift, is hard to prove without telemetry data, which Russia has not released. Technological factors also matter. Drones like Shaheds rely on GPS, which can be jammed or spoofed, as seen in the Black Sea, 2022, potentially explaining deviations. Weather conditions on September 9-10, including fog over eastern Poland, may have compounded navigational issues, though this is speculative without meteorological reports. Psychological warfare, e.g., Russia amplifying NATO's response to sow discord, adds another layer, as seen in its 2022 disinformation campaigns. Conclusion. The downing of Russian drones over Poland on September 10, 2025, represents a pivotal moment in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, testing NATO's unity and exposing the challenges of hybrid warfare. Geopolitically, it strengthens Poland's defensive posture and Ukraine's case for support, while risking escalation that could reshape European security. The evidence, while compelling, is not definitive, blending strong institutional claims with gaps in independent verification and alternative explanations like electronic interference or Ukrainian oversight. Drawing from historical and contemporary examples, this incident underscores the need for enhanced deterrence, technological adaptation, and diplomatic caution. As investigations proceed, the international community must balance preparedness with restraint to navigate this delicate juncture.